In this video, we will evaluate trig functions such as these using double angle formulas and sum and difference formulas. So we'll be using these formulas and we'll be using these formulas. Okay, evaluate cotangent of pi over 12. Well, I'm going to start by evaluating the tangent of pi over 12. And then I'll just do the reciprocal. So for the tangent of pi over 12, I need to figure out a way to break that up into special angles. So I'm going to do that little trick that I always do. I'm going to take my pi over 12 and I'm going to subtract pi over 4. Okay, I'd have to multiply by 3. So that's going to give me negative 2 pi over 12, which means that pi over 12 minus pi over 4 will equal negative pi over 6. Adding pi over 4 to both sides, I discover that pi over 12 is equal to pi over 4 minus pi over 6. So that means the tangent of pi over 12 is the same thing as the tangent of pi over 4 minus the pi over 6. Now the tangent formula goes tangent minus tangent over 1 plus tangent tangent. So I'm going to have tangent pi over 4 minus tangent pi over 6 over 1 plus, notice the sign change, tangent pi over 4 tangent pi over 6. Alright, that's how the formula works. But we have memorized that the tangent of pi over 4 is 1, and the tangent of pi over 6 is radical 3 over 3, or which is the same as 1 over radical 3. So now down in the denominator I have 1 plus tangent of pi over 4 is 1. 1 times something is not going to change anything, so it basically is gone at this point. And then tangent of pi over 6 again is radical 3 over 3. Now I'm going to use the magic of the number 1, which easily allows me to make like denominators because I can replace 1 with 3 over 3. And ta-da, like denominators. So let me make a new column. So this numerator is going to become 3 minus radical 3 over 3. And this denominator, whoops, is going to become 3 plus radical 3 over 3. See how the denominators are the same? Those are going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to end up with 3 minus radical 3 over 3 plus radical 3. And that's the final answer. Okay, number 22 is one of those where we are given quadrants and such. So this first one is between pi and 3 pi over 2. So they're describing the third quadrant. So let's draw a little picture in the third quadrant. Okay, secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And cosine is x over r. So that means that this is r over x. So that means the radius is 17, and this x value is negative 8. And I need the y value. A little Pythagorean theorem, and you're going to find that this is 15. Well, negative 15, because of the quadrant, and this is down, So I have x, y, and r. So keep in mind always that this is angle U, so I'm just going to label that really clearly so I don't get confused later. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for angle V. Angle V is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, so that is in the fourth quadrant, so I'm going to draw this picture in the fourth quadrant. Okay, cotangent. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, and tangent is y over x. So cotangent is x over y. Okay, the quadrant will tell me which one of these is positive and which one is negative. So this would have to be positive 6 in this quadrant, and this would have to be negative 7 in this quadrant. Okay, I don't think this is a Pythagorean triple, so we're going to have to do the Pythagorean theorem. So 6 squared plus, alright, so radius squared is going to equal 6 squared plus 7 squared. So that's going to be 36 plus 49. So that's going to be, so I've got 85, so that means r is the square root of 85. All right. Now, ultimately, we're supposed to find the cosecant of u minus v. So, cosecant, I don't know about that. I know that cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine function. So I think I will start off by finding the sine of u minus v. The sine formula goes sine cosine minus cosine sine. So I'm doing sine u cosine v minus cosine u sine v. So sine of u, that's y over r. So that's negative 15 over 17. Meanwhile, cosine of v, which I forgot to label, let me do that now. This is angle V. Do not get confused. Okay, so we're finding the cosine of V, so that's going to be 6 over radical 85. And then minus, and now it's time for cosine of u, so that's negative 8 over 17. And sine of v, so that's negative 7 over radical 85. So this is what I'm coming up with. 15 times 6 is 90, so I got negative 90. A negative times a negative is a positive, so it's positive 56. Alright, and you can see the denominator. So I'm getting negative 146 over 17 radical 85. Now remember that all of this is sine of u minus v. But we were supposed to find the cosecant of u minus v. So that's going to equal the reciprocal of this. So it's going to be negative, I'm just going to put the negative in the front. So this is going to be negative 17 radical 85 over 146. So that is the final answer. Okay, time for a simplify problem. So I'm going to start by doing the tangent. I'm going to do the tangent of x minus pi. And then whatever I get, because it's really cotangent, I'm just going to do the reciprocal. So the tangent formula goes tangent minus tangent over 1 plus tangent tangent. So this is going to be tangent x minus tangent pi over 1 plus tangent x tangent pi. Alright, let's talk about what the tangent of pi is real quick. So here is pi, and tangent is y over x. So in this position, the y value is 0 and the x value is -1. So that means that tangent is 0. So I've got tangent x. Now, so tangent of pi goes to 0. Tangent of pi goes to 0. Tangent x times 0 is actually 0. So this entire term is wiped out. So I really just have tangent x over 1. So it's really just tangent x. Okay, so tangent of x minus pi just gives me tangent x. But I want the reciprocal of that. Okay, so I should write this down. So tangent of x minus pi is equal to tangent x. So cotangent of x minus pi should equal the reciprocal of tangent. Well, the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. So that should be the final answer. Last problem. Theta is between 0 and pi over 2. That puts it in the first quadrant. Okay, cosine is x over r. So that means that this is 2 and this is 11. This is not one of the triples that I know about, so we would have to do the Pythagorean Theorem real quick to find y. So, for example, 2 squared plus y squared is equal to 11 squared. That's 4 plus y squared is equal to 121. So that's subtracting 4 from both sides. We're going to have y squared is equal to 117. So y is going to equal the square root of 117. Okay, so this is going to be the square root of 117. Alright, so this is theta over here. Now, we need to find the cotangent of 2 theta. I don't have a formula for that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the tangent of 2 theta, and then whatever I get, I'll just do the reciprocal of that, and then I'll have cotangent. So the formula for tangent 2 theta, see if I can put my hands on it real quick, goes like this: 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. So I'm going to do 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. So tangent is y over x. So this is going to be 2 times, and tangent is going to be radical 117 over 2. Okay, and in the denominator I have 1 minus tangent squared, so that's going to be radical 117 over 2 squared. Okay, so look, these 2's are going to cancel each other out, so that's leaving me with a numerator of radical 117. Okay, and in the denominator I have 1 minus, when you square a radical, the radical goes away, so that's going to be 117 over 4. I still have to square the denominator. Now I'm going to use the magic of the number 1 when it comes to like denominators, because I can write 1 as anything over itself, including 4 over 4, so that I will have like denominators. Okay, starting a new column. So look at that numerator, that is radical 117. Now in this denominator, I have 4 minus 117, so that's going to be negative 113 over 4. And then you multiply by the reciprocal, so that's going to be radical 117 times 4 over negative 113. So this is going to make 4 radical 117 over 113, and I'm just going to keep that negative out front. So this is the tangent of 2 theta. I'll just squeeze this in over to the side, tangent 2 theta. So if I take the reciprocal of this, it should be the cotangent of 2 theta. So if the reciprocal of this would be 113 over 4 radical 117. Okay, and this should be cotangent 2 theta. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.